All right, let's talk about Justin Bieber, because you can't do a week's worth of shows and not talk about Justin Bieber. He was doing a concert in Istanbul, Turkey, and he stopped for Muslim prayers. And he actually, originally, this was getting a ton of good buzz. People were backing him on this. Now, of course, people are saying, is he secretly Muslim? What is he doing to the American youth? And I have a feeling that Cenk might have an opinion on this.
Yeah. Well, it's time to reveal it. Bieber, Muslim. He's one of us. We've been hiding him. He's a sleeper cell. And you know how we were coming for your kids? Just got them.
Really?
Sorry.
When they say believers, they mean believers in Mohammed.
That's right. Yeah. So sad day. We've got all your kids now. If you want them back, okay, we're going to need a lot of money. Okay. No. So I mean, all he's doing is being respectful.
Yeah.
Because there's a call to prayer happening at the time. Now, Muslims were incredibly pleased with this because they don't often get respect. And then here's this enormous pop star in the world giving him that respect. They're like, oh, thanks God or Allah.
Yeah.
Right? But what you don't know if you've never heard an azan is how loud it is. So if you're in the middle of a concert and you've got all the mosques in Istanbul doing the call to prayer, you almost kind of have to stop.
But nobody else.
Do you see what I'm saying?
But nobody else.
Right, even Muslim.
But nobody else has, right? I mean, they must have gotten through it somehow.
So look, I don't know what happened, and let's assume that he did the right thing for the right reasons, and I want to give him all the credit. I remember when I once went to Turkey with my girlfriend, who, of course, now is my ex-girlfriend. That was a long time ago. One of the first call to prayers is really early in the morning, around 5. And she got up that first night, and in the morning she was like, who was that man singing in the middle of the night? Because it's like a song, and it's all the mosques throughout which, by the way, makes me not want to live in Istanbul, because at every 5 in the morning, you're like, oh, for Christ's sake.
And this is 5 times a day.
5 times a day.
I can't drink 5 glasses of water a day.
Do you think, though, this is just an example of how a celebrity at this level, especially a Justin Bieber celebrity, can't do anything right or wrong without everyone going nuts? Well, because it's like he went to the Anne Frank house, which the Anne Frank people actually backed what he did, and they said this is good, it gets people talking about Anne Frank, but then everyone was saying he was disrespectful. He said she would have been a believer. And
well, he's an idiot, Justin Bieber.
That's a good term.
Kid is a fool. And there may be hope for him somewhere down the road, but his behavior, all of a sudden, I liked the Justin Bieber movie. We all did on What the Flick. We gave it a pretty good review because it seemed to kind of like, you felt like you got to know him a little bit. It was a little bit revealing. But in this tour, I mean, with the showing up at a concert in London like 2.5 hours late, there's like 13-year-olds at this concert. You can't start a concert at 11 for 9-year-olds. And he also went after a photographer, like he was all thuggish one time,
And he's wearing German gas masks when he walks down the street. I mean, there's something.
Right, something has slipped with this guy. And again, I got it. Even if he just said, Justin Bieber, hey, cool place, and seems awesome, ! Right? But he didn't get it. Like, he doesn't get it, and he doesn't have people around him who are helping him to get it. Like, of course, Anne Frank wouldn't have been a believer, for crying out loud, right? She might have been a fan. She had posters of, but he just like, so this strike me as I read this and I thought, I hope this is representative of him trusting someone. Someone saying,
someone told him, "Hey, this is a good thing to do.
This is gonna help, and we're gonna do 8 things like this over the rest of the tour. And by the time we get back, all that other nonsense."
I wonder what percentage of the people that were at the concert would have actually cared whether he stopped or not, because they were there in the first place.
I have the answer. So I grew up till I was 8 in Turkey. Obviously I went back all the time, and my family's from there. I know the answer. Okay, I would be shocked if more than 1.5% of the people there actually were going to pray during prayer time. 1.5% maximum.
Because they just wouldn't have gone in the first place.
They're Turks. Turks are incredibly secular in the first place. Turks going to a Justin Bieber concert are even more secular. They didn't go there to do the prayer. They didn't bring their Muslim prayer rug with them. But don't get me wrong, they super appreciated it. Not that because they were going to pray, but because, hey, he's sensitive to our culture. He respects us. And to a Turk, getting that kind of respect is very important. So I'm sure that they love him for it now, even though no one was praying.
Right. I wonder, though, do you think there's a chance that some of the secular people that were there were upset by it because this is sort of their escape to secularism when they go to a Justin Bieber concert, and then you're throwing the religious thing it's in every country, and then it's just sort of appearing in a place that it doesn't even belong. You know?
Because he's Western, I don't think they would have had that reaction. If he was Turkish, definitely. Half the crowd would be Allah belasını versin, which means may God damn him.
But
like, what are you busting up my concert for with your stupid religions thing? And because it's a very sensitive topic in Turkey, the seculars versus the religious.
Right.
And so if somebody gets in your secular space with their religion, yeah, a lot of people might be annoyed.
But near as I can tell, Turks are like 14-year-old kids living in the streets of Baltimore on the wire and caring about their sneakers. Like, like it's all about respect.
Respect,
Showing
that's right.
proper respect. And so they probably thought, hey, look at this guy, it's awesome, now we can get a drink.
Yeah,
right.
No question, yeah. And look, so that's true of Turks partly because of our nature, et cetera, we're a little Klingon Dothraki, right? But also in the Muslim world, the one thing that drives people the most is this lack of respect from the West. That the West is dismissive of Muslims as backwards, et cetera, and barbaric and terrorists and all this stuff. And that has burrowed under Muslim skin.
Yeah.
So Muslims, a tiny fraction are radicals, right? Fox News wants to make them all radicals, et cetera. But on the other hand, a gigantic percentage of Muslims are bitter at the West for the tremendous disrespect they feel coming from the West. I mean, look, the Palestinian thing is the number one example of that. I mean, today there was a story, Israel decided, you villagers who have lived in this area for thousands of years, you're gone. It's now a military firing zone. You'll be evacuated. We'll destroy your homes, and it's now ours.
They're saying they don't like that.
Yeah, that tends to get under people's skin. But it's not just those guys, it's not just the Palestinians. It's a random Muslim, and it might be in Jordan and it might be in Indonesia, who thinks, fuck man, we're powerless. And they just keep running over us. And God, that sucks. And that's the anger, that's the frustration. And so when a Westerner shows respect of your Muslim call to prayer, even if you're not religious, you're like, oh, thanks God, somebody.
So
finally.
forget all that other Justin Bieber nonsense on all this tour. Like, if what you're saying is true, and it sounds like ridiculously true, like this was great.
Yeah, it was.
It was a
It was a great moment.
great thing.